Beneath the dark waves, an underwater drone glided through the depths. Then its cameras froze.
Ooh, what's that?
A long-abandoned submerged mine loomed ahead, its rusted entrance yawning like a gateway to the unknown, while just beyond it, a ghostly shipwreck lay twisted in Australia's infamous ship graveyard.
The U.S. Coast Guard says it's likely recovered human remains from the wreckage of the Titan submersibles.
Let's get started with the exploration of a forgotten lost mine, when divers utilized an underwater drone to navigate a long, abandoned submerged mine, revealing odd tunnels and relics from the past. Deep in a forgotten mine, beneath cold, dark waters, something incredible was waiting to be found. With an underwater drone and a long 200-meter cable, the search began. The drone slipped below the surface, following an old water pump, its camera cutting through the eerie darkness. The first discovery was a large wheel, once part of the mine's lifting system. It had fallen from above, resting in the depths like a ghost of the past. As the drone moved further, the tunnel became harder to navigate. Water clouded up, blocking the view. A ladder appeared, leading down to a hidden level. Old pipes stretched across the floor, whispering secrets of a time long gone. Then something shocking emerged. A railway track buried under layers of silt, and on it, a mine wagon, perfectly still, as if frozen in time, rusted but intact. It sat there, untouched for years. The drone crept closer. Another wagon appeared, lost in the darkness, its shape barely visible through the murky water. The tunnels stretched on, but the way forward was treacherous. Jagged rocks threatened to trap the drone. The cable got tangled. The risk of losing everything was high, but the discovery was already made. 2 mine wagons, abandoned beneath the earth, left behind when the miners vanished. The journey had to end. The drone returned, its camera capturing the last glimpse of history, hidden underwater. The mine had given up its secrets, revealing a piece of the past few had ever seen. The forgotten world beneath the surface was real, and it was nothing short of breathtaking. If you find this video amazing, make sure to like and subscribe to the channel. Haunting discovery of the Titan submersible wreckage, when an underwater drone captured strange images of the Titan submersible's remains, which tragically imploded during a Titanic exploration mission. Deep in the Atlantic, thousands of meters below the waves, the wreckage of the Titan submersible sits in silence. The first photo of the doomed vessel has finally been released, showing its shattered remains scattered across the ocean floor. A large section of the hull stands upright in the sand, alongside torn fragments of what was once a deep-sea exploration craft. This haunting discovery came nearly a year after the sub imploded on its way to the Titanic wreck. The tail cone, still intact, rests near another twisted piece of the sub, just 300 meters from the Titanic's bow. The photo, taken by deep-sea search teams, is a chilling reminder of the tragic journey that ended far too soon. During a recent hearing, more details surfaced about the Titan's final moments.
The U.S. Coast Guard says it's likely recovered human remains from the wreckage of the Titan submersible.
As it descended, a message from the sub read, "All good here," but just minutes later, all communication was lost. The last known update mentioned that the crew had dropped some weights, a standard move to adjust their descent. Then silence. The Polar Prince, the support ship above, never heard from them again. The hearing also uncovered disturbing revelations about the sub's safety. OceanGate's former engineers testified that the vessel had been left exposed to the elements for months and never properly checked by outside experts. Even worse, those on board, called mission specialists, were not trained professionals, just paying customers eager for an adventure. As search teams scoured the depths, they found the wreckage resting 3,775 meters below the surface, far beyond the reach of light. The Titan's collapse was swift, leaving no time for distress signals. Now, its remains lie in the deep, a silent testament to the risks of pushing boundaries unprepared. Discovery of a century-old shipwreck, when a small underwater drone named Hydrus located a shipwreck in Australia's ship graveyard, providing detailed 4K imagery of the sunken vessel. In the heart of the ocean, off the west coast of Australia, lies a hidden graveyard of ships. Some have been lost for decades, even centuries. The waters here are deep and dark, swallowing these giants whole. But now, a tiny underwater drone named Hydrus has uncovered one of these long-forgotten wrecks, a massive 210-foot iron coal ship resting silently on the ocean floor. Hydrus, weighing just 15 pounds, dove deep into the rottenest graveyard, a place where ships, submarines, and even aircraft were deliberately sunk over the years. With its high-tech sensors and cameras, it captured stunning 4K footage of the wreck. When the drone returned to the surface, the team eagerly analyzed the data. What they saw was breathtaking. Scattered remains of a century-old vessel, likely scuttled in the 1920s or 1930s. Dr. Ross Anderson, a curator at the WA Museum, studied the images and identified the ship as an iron coal hulk. Once a fast clipper ship in the grain and wool trade between the UK and Australia, it had later been repurposed to refuel steamships before being abandoned to the sea. This discovery is just one of many waiting beneath the waves. Experts believe there are around 3 million shipwrecks still undiscovered across the world's oceans, with nearly 2,000 already recorded off Australia's shores alone. Recently, another coal steamship, the SS Nemesis, was also found after being lost for more than 100 years. Hydrus is changing how shipwrecks are explored. Unlike traditional underwater robots that need heavy support vessels and cranes, this small drone can simply be dropped off the side of a boat. It dives deep, gathers incredible data, and resurfaces, all without putting human divers at risk. With more missions planned, the team is now setting their sights on other legendary lost ships, including the SS Kumbana, a luxury passenger vessel that vanished in 1912 with over 150 people on board. While piloting an underwater drone, an operator stumbled upon a human skull and eye, leading to a chilling and unexpected find. Beneath the waters of the Philippines, an underwater drone moved through the rocky ocean floor, searching for marine life. Among the coral and fish, something strange appeared, a shape covered in coral, rested in the sand. As the drone got closer, the details became clear. It was a skull, the hollow sockets, the bone structure. Everything looked real. Nearby, more strange objects sat on the ocean floor, including heavy cement blocks. Then, hidden between the rocks, something else caught the camera. A round, pale shape peered from the shadows. It wasn't just coral or stone. It looked like an eye. The drone struggled against the tide, shifting with every movement, but the lens caught another glimpse. The lifeless stare, the unsettling presence. It was impossible to ignore. The water was silent, but the discovery said enough. A skull and a human eye, resting where no one expected to find them. Massive dolphin superpod filmed when drone footage captured a breathtaking superpod of over 1,500 dolphins off the coast of California, showcasing a rare and mesmerizing natural event. The ocean off California's coast turned into a scene straight out of a wildlife documentary as more than 2,000 dolphins came together, forming a massive superpod in the crystal clear waters of Monterey Bay. They glided, leaped, and splashed in perfect harmony, creating a breathtaking sight that left onlookers in complete awe. Among them were northern right whale dolphins, Pacific white-sided dolphins, and even light gray baby calves. These dolphins usually travel in much smaller groups, making this gathering a rare and mesmerizing event. Evan Brodsky, a captain and videographer with Monterey Bay Whale Watch, captured this stunning moment, later describing it as mind-blowing. His team had also recently spotted another enormous pod of Risso's dolphins in the same waters. Northern right whale dolphins are particularly special. They don't have dorsal fins, giving them a smooth, almost alien-like appearance. And when they jump, they soar more than 20 feet above the water, almost as if they're flying. They look like flying eyebrows, Brodsky said, still amazed at what he had witnessed. Marine biologists say dolphins gather in these superpods for many reasons, sometimes to hunt, sometimes to play, and sometimes to protect each other from predators. In these massive pods, they babysit their young, practice courtship, and communicate through clicks and whistles, forming tight social bonds. Just south of San Francisco, Monterey Bay is a paradise for marine life, part of a protected sanctuary teeming with sharks, sea lions, and whales. Recently, in nearby Carmel Bay, researchers were on the lookout for migrating gray whales when they stumbled upon another incredible sight. 1,500 rhesos dolphins swimming and leaping in unison. For scientists and ocean lovers, these rare superpods are a reminder of the ocean's magic, a world still full of surprises, just waiting to be discovered. An underwater drone's journey into Belize's Great Blue Hole provided unprecedented views and insights into this natural wonder. Deep beneath the turquoise waters off the coast of Belize lies a giant, almost perfect circle in the ocean, the Great Blue Hole. It's a massive sinkhole, more than 1,000 feet wide and over 400 feet deep, sitting right in the middle of Lighthouse Reef. But what's hidden inside? That's what a team of explorers wanted to find out. In December 2018, 2 submarines slowly descended into the darkness, scanning the hole with sonar to create a full 3D map. As they went deeper, the bright blue water started to fade into darkness. Then, at around 300 feet down, they hit something strange, a thick, lifeless layer of hydrogen sulfide. Above it, there was life, but below, nothing. No fish, no coral, no oxygen, just pure blackness. It was like stepping into a completely different world, one where time had stopped. The deeper they went, the more the past revealed itself. Stalactites, giant rock formations that usually form in dry caves, hung from ledges, proving this hole was once above water before the ocean swallowed it thousands of years ago. Some were even tilted, showing that the land had shifted long ago, twisting and shaping the cave in ways no one had imagined. Then came the most haunting discovery. As their lights swept the bottom, they saw something that made them stop. 2 human bodies, perfectly preserved in the deep. These were divers who had vanished years ago, swallowed by the silent depths. The team knew they had to report their discovery, but decided to leave them there, resting forever in the quiet, sunless world below. The Great Blue Hole is more than just a stunning sight from above. It's a hidden world filled with secrets, frozen in time, untouched by life, and waiting to tell its story to those brave enough to venture inside. Underwater drone reveals submerged aircraft, Lockheed L-1011 TriStar plane. Footage captured by an underwater drone unveiled the eerie remains of a sunken aircraft, offering a glimpse into a past aviation tragedy. The waters of the Florida Everglades hold a secret hidden beneath the surface for decades. On a quiet night in December 1972, Eastern Airlines Flight 401, a massive Lockheed L-1011 TriStar, was making its way toward Miami, but something went terribly wrong. The crew became distracted by a small landing gear light that wasn't working. In the darkness, they didn't realize the plane was slowly losing altitude. Moments later, the aircraft slammed into the swamp, breaking apart on impact. More than 100 people lost their lives. For years, the wreckage sat beneath the murky waters, swallowed by mud and tangled in thick vegetation. Only pieces of the plane could be seen above the surface, slowly rusting away under the harsh Florida sun. But below, in the cold, black depths, the true remains of Flight 401 waited, untouched and frozen in time. When divers finally went down to explore, they found the wreckage scattered across the swamp floor. The metal frame of the once mighty jet was twisted and broken, half buried in the muck. The cockpit, where the pilots had struggled in those final moments, was almost unrecognizable, its instruments covered in layers of silt. Seats, luggage, and pieces of the cabin lay strewn around, swallowed by the swamp. But the most chilling discovery was what remained inside. Deep within the wreck, divers found personal belongings, shoes, clothing, and even a flight attendant's logbook, still readable despite being underwater for so long. The past had been preserved in the silence of the swamp, a haunting reminder of that tragic night. Years have passed, but the wreckage of Flight 401 still rests beneath the Everglades, hidden from sight, a place where time stands still, and the memories of those aboard remain forever beneath the dark waters. A ghostly hand, frozen in time, reaching from the deep. They call it the Finger of Death. In the frozen waters of Antarctica, something terrifying takes shape. A long, twisting finger of ice slowly reaches down from the sea ice above, growing longer and longer, searching for the ocean floor. Anything it touches, starfish, sea urchins, slow-moving creatures, freezes instantly, trapped forever in solid ice. This deadly formation is called a brinacle, an icicle of salt water. It starts when cracks in the floating ice above leak super cold, salty water into the ocean. Because this brine is denser than normal seawater, it sinks. But as it moves down, something strange happens. The water around it freezes, forming a hollow ice tube. The brinacle continues to stretch downward, forming an icy tunnel that looks like something out of a nightmare. As it grows, the brinacle becomes a silent hunter. It doesn't just stop when it reaches the sea floor. Instead, it spreads out, creating a sheet of ice known as anchor ice. This frozen trap expands quickly, covering the ocean floor in a deadly frost. Small creatures crawling along the seabed don't stand a chance. They try to escape, but the ice spreads too fast. Within moments, they are locked in place, frozen solid, like statues in an underwater graveyard. For years, brinicles were almost never seen in action. Scientists first discovered them in the 1960s, but they remained a mystery, forming in the deep, hidden world beneath the ice. It wasn't until 2011 that cameras finally captured one growing in real time. The footage revealed the brinicle's slow, steady descent, its icy grip tightening around everything in its path. In the deep, cold waters of Antarctica, the brinacle is a silent force, growing downward, searching, freezing, and leaving behind a frozen wasteland of marine life, untouched by time. Lost beneath the waves, Cleopatra's sunken palace whispers secrets of a fallen empire. Down the Mediterranean, hidden for centuries, lies the lost world of Cleopatra, once a place of power, beauty, and wealth. Her grand palace now rests in silence under the waves. Stone columns, giant statues, and broken temples sit covered in sand, untouched for thousands of years. The palace, once standing proudly in Alexandria, was a masterpiece of the ancient world. It had towering pillars, golden halls, and statues of gods and rulers. Cleopatra herself walked these halls, ruling over Egypt in all her glory. But nature had other plans. Sometime in the 4th century, powerful earthquakes and massive waves hit Alexandria. The land shook, the sea rose, and the palace was swallowed whole, disappearing into the deep forever. For centuries, no one knew exactly where it had gone. Legend spoke of a sunken city, a royal palace lost beneath the sea, but no one could find it. Then, in the 1990s, an underwater explorer named Frank Gaudio set out on a mission. His team sent down cameras and divers into the dark waters off Alexandria's coast. What they found was breathtaking. Huge statues lay scattered across the ocean floor, broken but still magnificent. A massive head of Caesarion, Cleopatra's son, stared up from the seabed. Stone sphinxes sat frozen in time, half buried in sand. Giant slabs of red granite marked where grand temples once stood. In the ruins, archaeologists even found wooden beams that may have once been part of Cleopatra's very own palace. Near the remains of the palace, they discovered pieces of another lost wonder, the Lighthouse of Alexandria, one of the 7 wonders of the ancient world. Bits of its massive foundation lay deep in the sea, a final clue to its past greatness. The lost palace of Cleopatra is no longer just a legend. It sleeps beneath the waves, a sunken world of kings, queens, and forgotten glory, waiting to tell its story. An ancient Hebrew curse, sealed in lead, uncovered from the depths. Warning or omen? Let's find out. Hidden for thousands of years, a tiny metal tablet has been pulled from the earth, holding a powerful message from the ancient world. Buried beneath Mount Ebal in Israel, this lead tablet carries a curse, written in ancient Hebrew, warning of destruction and death. The tablet, no bigger than a coin, was folded shut, sealing its message inside. It was discovered by archaeologist Dr. Scott Stripling and his team using a method called wet sifting, washing through dirt left behind from old excavations. When they found the small piece of lead, they knew it was special, but what they uncovered was beyond anything they expected. With help from scientists, they carefully scanned the tablet without opening it. Slowly, the hidden words appeared. Cursed, 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 cursed by the god Yahweh. You will die cursed. Cursed, you will surely die. Cursed by Yahweh. Cursed. Cursed, cursed. A message of doom carved into lead thousands of years ago. Experts believe the tablet was written between 1400 and 1200 BC, making it the oldest known Hebrew text. It is at least 200 years older than any other Hebrew writing ever found, and over 1,300 years older than the famous Dead Sea Scrolls. This tiny tablet might change everything historians thought they knew about the Bible's history. The lead used to make the tablet was traced back to an ancient Greek mine, proving its age. The letters scratched onto its surface were an early form of Hebrew, showing that the people of that time could write sacred texts long before many scholars believed it was possible. The tablet was found near a site some believe to be Joshua's altar, where the biblical leader Joshua may have made sacrifices. The Bible describes Mount Ebal as the mountain of the curse, making this discovery even more astonishing. Lost for thousands of years, buried beneath stone and dust, this tablet has finally spoken again. A warning from the past, preserved in metal, untouched by time. Hydrothermal vents are where boiling water rises from the ocean floor, bringing heat and life to the deep. Under the ocean, where sunlight never reaches, something strange is happening. Scientists once thought these depths were lifeless, but in 1977, they found something unbelievable. Giant towers on the seafloor, gushing super hot water like underwater volcanoes. But that wasn't the craziest part. Surrounding these vents were creatures no one had ever seen before. These underwater vents form when seawater seeps into cracks in the ocean floor and gets heated by magma deep below. When the water reaches temperatures hotter than 700 degrees Fahrenheit, it rushes back up, carrying minerals that harden into towering chimneys. Some vents spew black clouds filled with iron sulfides, giving them the name black smokers. Others release lighter minerals, creating pale, ghostly towers called white smokers. These vents might look like something out of a nightmare, but they are full of life. Despite the boiling water blasting from the vents, strange creatures thrive in the surrounding darkness. The water cools quickly as it mixes with the deep sea, creating a habitable zone teeming with bizarre animals. Instead of relying on sunlight like plants on land, tiny bacteria here use chemicals from the vents to make food. These bacteria become the base of an entire food chain, supporting animals that exist nowhere else on Earth. Giant tube worms grow in thick clusters, their bright red plumes waving in the dark currents. Massive mussels cling to the rocks, while ghostly white yeti crabs crawl along the seafloor. Their hairy arms covered in bacteria, they farm for food. Some creatures, like this scaly foot snail, have iron shells, living armor forged from the minerals of the vents. One of the toughest creatures ever found, the Pompeii worm, survives in temperatures hot enough to kill almost anything else. Scientists believe these vents have existed since Earth's earliest days. Some even think life itself may have started in these deep, hidden worlds. Today, exploring them is no easy task. It takes high-tech submarines and robotic arms to navigate the rocky terrain. But every new discovery proves one thing: this deep, dark world is more alive than anyone ever imagined. The fascinating yet terrifying floating golden forest, the seaweed of the Sargasso Sea, teems with life in the open ocean. Deep in the Atlantic Ocean, far from any land, lies a massive floating world of golden seaweed. It stretches for miles, drifting with the currents, forming an endless, tangled mat on the water's surface. This is the Sargasso Sea, a sea with no borders, no shores, just a vast, shifting mass of life. The golden seaweed, called sargassum, isn't like other ocean plants. Most seaweed grows from the seafloor, but this one floats freely, carried by the ocean's currents. It survives by breaking apart and growing again, creating an endless maze of twisting vines and tiny air bladders that keep it afloat. At first glance, it looks lifeless, just a mass of tangled weeds. But beneath the surface, something strange is happening. Hidden among the floating jungle, creatures lurk, many of them found nowhere else on Earth. Tiny shrimp and crabs scuttle between the leaves. Camouflaged fish, their bodies matching the seaweed, wait motionless, disappearing into the golden tangle. The sargassum fish, with its odd fins, crawls through the thick mats like a creature from another world. Some of these animals have adapted so perfectly that they would not survive anywhere else. For young sea turtles, The Sargasso Sea is a hidden nursery. They hatch on distant beaches and drift into this golden refuge, finding food and shelter as they grow. Below, giant tuna and other predators patrol the edges, waiting for smaller fish to stray too far. Even whales pass through, drawn by the life teeming beneath the surface. Christopher Columbus once sailed through these waters, stunned by the endless floating mass. To his crew, it looked like the sea itself had grown a thick, golden skin. Today, scientists know that ocean currents pull floating debris, both natural and man-made, into this region. A lost object drifting on the waves may circle the Atlantic for years before vanishing into the Sargasso Sea. This vast, drifting world is unlike any other, a hidden oceanic realm, always moving, always changing, where life clings to golden vines in the middle of the open sea. Finally, sunken for centuries, the San Jose shipwreck holds a fortune in gold, still waiting to be claimed. In the heart of the Caribbean Sea, buried under 2,000 feet of water, an ancient ship rests in silence. Broken wood, twisted metal, and scattered treasure lie across the seafloor, untouched for over 300 years. This is the San Jose, a Spanish galleon that sank in a violent explosion in 1708, taking hundreds of lives and billions in gold, silver, and emeralds down with it. The wreck is frozen in time, a graveyard of history. Cannons, once powerful weapons, now sit covered in marine growth. The ship's wooden hull, though battered, still holds clues about how it was built. Personal objects, plates, jewelry, and pieces of clothing remain buried in the sand, silent reminders of those who perished when the San Jose vanished beneath the waves. Once a mighty warship, the San Jose was loaded with treasure when it came under attack. British ships, hungry for its wealth, surrounded it. Cannons roared, smoke filled the sky, and just when it seemed the British would board, the galleon suddenly exploded. In seconds, it was gone. The ocean swallowed the ship, leaving only wreckage drifting in the waves. For centuries, the wreck was lost, its legendary treasure whispered about, but never seen. Then, in 2014, a team of experts using advanced underwater technology finally found it. Hidden under layers of sand and coral, the ship still held its secrets. Golden coins glinted in the deep, chests of emeralds lay undisturbed, and the remains of those on board rested where they had fallen. But the San Jose is more than treasure. It is a time capsule holding the stories of the sailors, passengers, and enslaved workers who were aboard that day. The wreckage speaks of war, power, and human lives lost in the struggle for wealth. Now, as plans begin to raise the treasure from the depths, the San Jose emerges from the shadows of history, a ghostly reminder of the battle that sent it to the bottom of the sea. What lurks beneath the ocean's surface remains one of the greatest mysteries of our planet. As the underwater drone's footage fades to black, one chilling question lingers. What else is hiding in the deep, waiting to be discovered?